Timeless tales for kids.
Hansel and Gretel. In a cozy little village surrounded by tall trees, Hansel and Gretel lived with their father, a woodcutter, and their stepmother. Life was tough, and food was scarce. Their stepmother, worried about not having enough to eat, hatched a plan to abandon the children in the deep forest. Overhearing their stepmother's plan, Hansel comforted his scared sister, Gretel. "I have a plan," he whispered. The next morning, as they were led into the forest, Hansel discreetly dropped shiny white pebbles from his pocket onto the ground. The day turned to night, and after their parents left them alone, Hansel and Gretel followed the glimmering pebbles under the moonlight, which led them safely back home. However, their stepmother was determined. The next time, she took them even deeper into the woods. This time, Hansel dropped breadcrumbs to mark their way back. But hungry birds swooped down and ate up all the crumbs. Lost and afraid, the siblings wandered deeper into the woods. To their astonishment, they came across a peculiar house made entirely of candy, cookies, and chocolate. Their hunger got the better of them, and they started nibbling on the house. Just as they were enjoying the sweet treats, the door creaked open, revealing an old witch with a crooked smile. She warmly invited them inside, offering more delicious food. But her kindness was a ruse. She wanted to fatten Hansel up and keep Gretel as her servant. Days went by, and Gretel noticed the witch checking if Hansel was plump enough to eat. Thinking quickly, Gretel tricked the witch. When asked to check the heat of the oven, Gretel acted confused. As the witch leaned over to demonstrate, Gretel mustered her strength and pushed the wicked witch into the oven, locking the door. With the witch out of the way, the siblings discovered a chest filled with precious jewels and gold coins in the house. Taking as much as they could carry, they embarked on their journey home. Along the way, they met a kind fisherman who gave them a ride across a large lake, bringing them closer to their village. When Hansel and Gretel finally reached home, their father was overjoyed, hugging them tightly. He revealed that their stepmother had left, and he had been searching for them ever since. With the treasures they brought from the witch's house, the family lived comfortably and never went hungry again. Together, they built a life full of love, joy, and plenty of food, living happily ever after.
The Wonderful Adventures of Pinocchio. In a quaint town nestled between green hills, there lived an elderly carpenter named Geppetto. He lived alone and often felt lonely, so one day he decided to carve a wooden puppet. When he finished, he was so pleased with his creation that he named it Pinocchio. That night, as he looked at the twinkling stars, he whispered a wish for Pinocchio to become a real boy. The Blue Fairy, hearing his wish, visited Geppetto's home. With a wave of her wand, she brought Pinocchio to life. However, she told the puppet that to become a real boy, he must prove himself brave, honest, and unselfish. And she added a twist. Whenever Pinocchio lied, his wooden nose would grow. The next morning, Geppetto was thrilled to find Pinocchio alive and decided to send him to school, just like other children. But on his first day, he met two tricksters who convinced him to join a grand puppet show instead. At the show, the showmaster wanted to trap Pinocchio and keep him forever. But remembering the fairy's words, Pinocchio decided to escape. As he ran away, he lied about where he was going, and his nose began to grow. Later, Pinocchio heard about a place called the Land of Toys, where kids played all day without any rules. It seemed like a dream, but once there, he saw children turning into donkeys. Frightened, Pinocchio decided he needed to go back home and be with Geppetto. However, when he reached his village, he found out that Geppetto had gone looking for him and was now trapped in the belly of a giant whale. Without a second thought, brave Pinocchio dove into the sea. Inside the whale's belly, he found Geppetto. With clever thinking, they made the whale sneeze, and both were thrown out to safety. Back on land, the fairy appeared once more. She saw how brave and truthful Pinocchio had become, and as a reward, she transformed him into a real boy. Geppetto was overjoyed. From that day on, Pinocchio and Geppetto lived happily, always cherishing their adventures and the lessons they learned.
Cat in Boots. In a small village, a young man named Jack lived. When his father passed away, he left Jack 3 things: a mill, a donkey, and a cat. Jack's brothers took the mill and the donkey, leaving Jack with just the cat. Jack was sad, thinking he got the least valuable thing. But this cat was special. He stood up, looked at Jack with bright eyes, and said, "Don't worry, Jack. Just get me a pair of boots and a bag, and I'll make sure you're richer than your brothers." Jack was surprised, but decided to trust the talking cat. He got him a pair of shiny boots and a big bag. The cat, now known as Boots, wore his new boots and strutted off with the bag. He filled the bag with carrots and left it open in the field. Soon, a curious rabbit hopped in to nibble. Boots quickly closed the bag, capturing the rabbit. He presented it to the king, saying it was a gift from his master, the noble Lord Jack. The king was delighted and thanked Lord Jack by sending him gold coins. Boots continued to bring gifts of game to the king, each time telling tales of Lord Jack's kindness and bravery. One sunny day, Boots heard that the king would be taking a ride near the river with his lovely daughter, the princess. Boots whispered a plan to Jack, who trusted his clever cat friend. As the royal carriage approached, Jack went into the river, splashing and pretending to be in trouble. Boots cried out, "Help! Lord Jack is drowning!" The king, recognizing the name of the generous lord, ordered his guards to rescue Jack immediately. While Jack was drying off, Boots told the king that thieves had taken Lord Jack's fine clothes. The kind king gave Jack some royal clothes, and he looked very handsome. Wanting to impress the king even more, Boots led the king to a magnificent castle, saying it belonged to Lord Jack. But in reality, it was the home of a mean ogre. Boots challenged the ogre to turn into a tiny mouse. The ogre, wanting to show off, did so, and in an instant, Boots pounced and gobbled him up. The king, seeing the grand castle and believing it belonged to Jack, offered his daughter's hand in marriage to him. Jack and the princess were both happy, and with Boots by their side, they lived happily ever after.